They dug a utility trench across my yard, so I shut down their expansion. When I pulled into my driveway that Sunday evening, my headlights caught the raw stripe of earth slicing through my lawn like a wound. The trench ran from my split-rail fence all the way to the edge of the new subdivision road, jagged and wet, with orange conduit pipes half buried inside. My tire ruts filled with muddy water as I stepped out. The air smelled of diesel and clay. I could see fresh boot prints trailing across my grass, and a yellow stake reading, HOA Utility, Do Not Disturb. I stood there for a long minute, listening to the quiet hum of crickets and the far-off sound of a generator from the construction site beyond the cul-de-sac. I'd bought this property 10 years before the subdivision even existed. My acre of land sat just outside the HOA's recorded boundary, a patch of old farmland with a modest ranch house and a small orchard of pecan trees. When the developers arrived 5 years ago, I didn't fight them. They promised their new community would stay within its platted lines. I kept to myself, mowed my grass, paid my county taxes, and watched new roofs rise behind me. So when I saw that trench cutting right through my yard, I knew something had gone very wrong. The next morning, a white pickup with the HOA logo rolled up. 2 men in reflective vests stepped out, one holding a clipboard. I walked over and asked, "Who authorized this trench?" The man with the clipboard looked irritated. "We're running conduit for the new fiber and irrigation control lines, part of the HOA expansion plan." "Across my yard?" I asked. "This isn't HOA property." He shrugged like it didn't matter. "It's within the functional perimeter. The board approved it. You'll get access to upgraded utilities so everyone benefits." "That's not how property lines work," I said. "You trespassed." He sighed. "Look, sir, we're on a tight schedule. If you've got an issue, talk to the board president. But we have to finish this before the next inspection." They left their equipment overnight. A small backhoe parked half on my grass, half on the gravel shoulder. I took photos of everything: license plates, trench depth, conduit markings, and the exact distance from my front porch to the dig line. Then I pulled my plat map from the safe in my office. The boundary was clear. My land extended 10 feet past that trench. No easements, no utility rights-of-way, nothing. I sent an email to the HOA office that afternoon, attaching pictures and a scanned copy of my deed. The response came 2 hours later from the board president, a man named Harold who fancied himself a real estate visionary. He wrote, "Our records indicate your property is included in the designated service corridor established for Phase 2 of our community enhancement. This work is authorized and will improve infrastructure for all residents." Then, in bold, "Do not interfere with ongoing construction." I'd read enough. My first call was to the county assessor's office. They confirmed that my parcel was private, outside the HOA's jurisdiction, and no recorded easement existed. My second call was to a property attorney I'd used once before when a neighbor built a fence across my old drainage ditch. She remembered me. When I explained what happened, she said, "Send me every photo, every document, and the email. I'll handle the rest." 2 days later, the trench stretched deeper into my yard. They'd widened it, dropped more conduit, and even installed a utility box right beside my mailbox. I confronted one of the workers. "You're trespassing," I said. "Stop digging." He looked uncomfortable. "We're just following the site plan, sir. HOA said this was approved land." I pointed at the survey stake I had hammered in the night before, marked clearly with my parcel number. "That's my line. You're inside it by 8 feet. He radioed his supervisor, muttered something about homeowner dispute, and packed up for the day. But the damage was done. My irrigation pipe had been severed, and one of my pecan trees had roots exposed like bones. That evening, my attorney filed an emergency cease and desist. She sent copies to the HOA, the construction company, and the county inspector. Within 48 hours, we had a temporary injunction preventing further work until ownership could be verified. The next morning, I stood by my window and watched as 2 men in suits surveyed the trench, arguing quietly. The backhoe was gone. The HOA president showed up at my door that afternoon, his khakis still dusty from the site. He smiled like a salesman. "I think we got off on the wrong foot," he said. "This trench benefits everyone." "You cut through private land without permission," I said. "That's trespass. You damaged my irrigation. That's property destruction." He waved a hand dismissively. "We acted under community improvement authorization. It's all within our charter." "Your charter doesn't override county records," I said. "You might want to talk to your lawyer before you dig another inch." His smile faltered. "You're making this more complicated than it needs to be. The board can impose fines for obstructing community work." "Good luck enforcing HOA fines outside your jurisdiction," I answered and closed the door. The next few weeks were a blur of paperwork. My attorney pulled the subdivision's recorded plats, the HOA declaration, and the developer's original permits. Every document confirmed what I already knew. My parcel sat outside the HOA's governing area. Worse for them, the county had no record of any utility easement crossing my property. When we requested construction permits from the city's building department, the clerk looked confused. "There's no permit for that trench," she said. "It's not even on file." That was the turning point. My attorney filed for a verified complaint of unlawful excavation, trespass, and property damage. The county inspector issued a stop work order across the entire expansion project pending investigation. For the next month, the subdivision sat half-finished, trenches open, equipment idle, and residents fuming about delays. I kept mowing my grass right up to the edge of their halted project, quietly watching. Then came discovery. Internal HOA emails revealed that the board had known for weeks the trench crossed private property. One message from Harold to the rest of the board read, "It's technically outside the boundary, but the owner won't fight it." Another email showed they'd pressured the contractor to skip permit filing to avoid red tape. My attorney nearly laughed when she read it. "They just handed us liability on a silver platter," she said. I consider revenge taken.